Hey, shalom, shalom. Hayawam tawabla atam za akyakam yawam marachagado Charlotte, which is good day. This is your brother Yawan from the GMS camp in Charlotte. Nachamatam kaya hamalakot hashamayim kwara repent ye for. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Call halayim la la abanawa Yahweh bahasham Yahweh shai bahasham rocha kwadash wa mashana la zakwanyim na wa malakim shor rochagadol, which is all praises to our Father Yahweh, which means He exists. Bahasham, in the name Yahweh Shai, He delivers in double honor to those and apostles of great millstone. This is Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 9. And it says, "For then will I turn to the people a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of the Lord to serve Him with one consent." You see? So when you go into the word for pure, all right, it goes into, it says barar, all right? And it says, salat. The word for pure, it says barar. It says to select, all right, to test. All right, I'm going to go down. It says to test, to prove, to purify. And it says examine. It says polish, clear. It says to separate, to sever. It says to separate, to remove impure things, to cleanse. It says to point, to sharpen. All right, and then it says salat. Main point I want to get was, it says to stand apart from one's companions. All right, and when you put this in reference to other languages, all right, barar, all right, that pure language is going to stand apart from other languages. All right, so going into that, you know, this means unadulterated, unmixed, you see, because when you go into other languages, it's a lot of mixtures. All right. In Hebrew, there is no mixtures in the pure Hebrew, you see, because when you go into the modern Hebrew, all right, it's comprised of Yiddish, or it's comprised of, I believe, a couple of Germanic languages, all right, and then it has, you know, some origins from, you know, the pure Hebrew, but it has mixtures in it, referring to the modern Hebrew. You see, when we talk about the Lashwan Kwadash, all right, or Ibarya Hakwadam, the ancient Hebrew, you know, or Ibarya Hakwadawam, all right, the ancient Hebrew, you know, it's no mixtures, all right, it's pure, you know, it's straight to the source, you know. So I'm gonna read this again. It says, "For then will I turn to the people a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of the Lord to serve Him with one consent." You see, so the main part of the language is going to be the Lord's name, Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai, you know. And it says to serve Him with one consent, all right, in which that word consent goes into shoulder. It says shakam, and it says shoulder. So shoulder to shoulder, you know, all in unison, you see, and that's what the elect is doing. All right, let's get this. This is Bon Sirach, chapter 17, and we'll get verse 10, and it says, "And the elect shall praise His holy name." All right, so the name is out here. All right, the Lord's name is being pushed forth in the world, all right, by way of, you know, the elect, you see. And it also shows that we have the true language, you know. So I just want to get some precepts just going into the language, you know, because you have a lot of scoffers, a lot of mockers, all right, and then you have some even amongst the circumcision that say, like, you know, we don't have the true Hebrew, but that's, you know, that's not the case. You know, we have the language, all right. The scriptures say that, you know, each prophecy, roughly paraphrase, is going to come to pass. You know, we got scriptures like Isaiah 34 and 16, you know, and just different prophetic scriptures, all right, and also scriptures like Second Esdras, or Sirach 15. I'm gonna get that real fast. This is Bon Sirach, chapter 15, and or Second Esdras 15, Salakia. Second Esdras 15 and verse 1, it says, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true." You see, because they got a saying in the world, you know, if something happens, all right, it has to be in black and white, because if it's in black and white, you know, that's stamp, that's the stamp of approval. That means that it's legit. You see, so if that's how it is in a worldly sense, how much more so for the Heavenly Father? You see, the Lord put His word above His name. You see, so everything in the scriptures has happened, is going to continue to happen. All right, we got various different accounts, all right, in history, all right, and different things that we can see in secular history, you see. But then also, you know, just through faith, you know, through faith, You know, we can see that. You know, we have um, everything that's in the scriptures. All right, and through faith, you know, we know and understand that, you know, the prophecies they have happened and they're gonna continue to happen. You know, I'm gonna keep going though to verse 3. It says, verse 2, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. You know, so those that don't repent, that say, you know, or that are essentially speaking up against, you know, anything about the truth, or in reference to what we're talking about now, you know, saying that, you know, we don't have the true Hebrew, you know, that will be a lie, you see. So we shouldn't worry about the incredulity of them that are speaking such things. All right, which that word incredulity goes into unbelief. All right, because those that don't believe, hey, well, they're just gonna die in that unbelief. You know, at least they repent. You know, but continuing on, you know, because again, we do have, you know, the true Hebrew. So let's get some precepts going into that. This is Yeshaya Isaiah chapter 19. We'll get verse 18. And it says, in that day shall 5 cities in the land of Egypt speak the language of Canaan and swear to the Lord of hosts, one shall be called the city of destruction. You see, in the language of Canaan, all right, is the Hebrew. You know, the Canaanites, you know, they spoke a derivation of the Hebrew. You know, the Phoenicians. You know, the Phoenicians, they were Canaanites. You see, and they spoke Hebrew. All right, but nevertheless, continuing on. All right. Let's get we'll get Bon Sirach chapter 1 and verse 1, and it says, I'm gonna skip down to the point, and it says, wherefore let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us wherein we may seem to come short of some words. You see, because the scriptures was translated from Hebrew and Greek. All right, from Hebrew and Greek. So some words don't directly translate. All right, i.e., you know, words like for. All right, in English, that means this is for you. So you see in Hebrew, all right, the best word that you can use is la. You see, because if something is for somebody, that means it's to that person. So you would use to, you know. So in Hebrew, if we say for, it means because, or because of this or because of that, you know. That's what for means in our language, you see. But in some instances, you know, if you have a word like for, you know, sometimes it'll be la, you know, because it's for that specific person, you know. So that's an example of, you know, coming short of some words, you know, or it might just be to where, you know, a certain word, it may not have a translation or a transliteration in a specific language, you see. But continuing on, I'm gonna read it again. It says, wherefore let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us wherein we may seem to come short of some words which we have labored to interpret. For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own language. You see, so it's a difference in speaking it in Hebrew, and it's a difference in speaking it in English. You see, it's going to have more force and more power, all right, when it's spoken in Hebrew, you see, because how the Lord set up the language, all right, the power is in the letters, all right, and essentially when it's spoken, all right, it's a language that is meant to be spoken, and it puts forth a righteous and a holy vibration. And that goes back to how the Lord said, for then he will return to the people a pure language, because this language is pure. You know, it's not mixed with a whole bunch of different other languages, you see, because when we go into different languages, they just, you know, recycle and reuse different words from different cultures. All right. So continuing on, let's get we'll get this. This is Acts chapter 22 and it's Acts chapter 21 and verse 40. It says, and when he had given him license, Paul stood on the stairs and beckoned with the hand unto the people. And when there was made a great silence, he spake unto them in the Hebrew tongue, saying, men, brethren, and fathers, hear my defense which I make now unto you. And when they heard that he spake in the Hebrew tongue to them, they kept the more silence and he saith, which it shows you that, that vibration was felt, you see, because they kept the more silence, because the Hebrew has a more force and more power. It has power when it's spoken. All right, again, that's how the Lord set it up. You know, let's get this as well. This is Barashit Genesis chapter 11. We'll get verse 1. It says, and the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they began to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, are the Alahayim, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. You see, because essentially we was made to be, our ways was supposed to be diverse. The nations wasn't supposed to be dibbling and dabbling into each other's cultures and stuff like that. They pretty much try to make a how it is now, a ancient, new world order, everybody being on the same accord, but that's not the Lord's plans. It never has been in the Lord's plans, because even with this present day NWO, that's not going to come into fruition. All right, verse 8. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. You see, so the Lord, dispatched the Alahayim, you see, to essentially confound the languages. And when you go into this word for confound, it's going to go into to water down by mixture. All right, this word for confound, it says balal. It says to mix, to mingle. We go down, it says especially specifically with oil, by implication to mix, to fodder. It says to fodder, to overflow, so basically to water down. It says to pour over, to wet, to moisten, to flow as water. You see, so confusion by mixing. Babal, it comes from balal, which means to mix. You see, so it shows. And even when you go into the study of, like, Edenics, all right, like right here, all right, it'll have let me scroll down. Let me see if I can get an example. All right, because all the word Edenics means the study of, something coming from, the Hebrew, essentially. So like I'm still looking for an example. Slide this. Go right here. Right here, Edenics. And this word is Nawach. And it says Edenics night, from German Nacht. All right, another example. Edenics wheat. It comes from Chataya. All right, another example. Samal and Edenics will be similar. Samal means the form or shape of an image. All right, similar comes from Samal. All right, that's how you say it in Hebrew. Samal, the English is similar. It shows you that, just like right here, Nayan, all right, new. Nayan, new. It says with the removal of the final N, you see, so it would just be Naya. You see, they just added some letters, Another one right here, Nash. The word right here is Nosh. To gnash, it means to bite, but Nosh means a continual pressing. You see, so continual pressing of the teeth, that just means to gnash, It comes from the Hebrew. All this comes from the Hebrew, but it's a watered down version of the Hebrew. You see, it's mixed in with a GNASH. You see, they added the G. That's not the pure tongue. You see, the pure tongue will be Nosh, not Nash. It will be Nosh. So that's just an example. But we do have the pure Hebrew, the pure Hebrew. All right, Ibarya Barar, the pure Hebrew, or Ha Ibarya Barar, which is the pure Hebrew. You see, so I just want to go into that. You know, again, we do have the language, the pure language that the Lord essentially put back into the earth. You know, but yeah, I just want to go into that. You know, Adonai Tazaza Banaya Palu, that was a beautiful edification through the spirit. Wa Adonai Tazah Atam Yash Yawam Tawab. A Lord's will. You have a good day. Wa Shalom Lakam. Just peace into you all. Shalom.